Hello and good morning. I realised you didn't hear any sound there on the intro. It didn't give any sound on it. Should we do that? Should we do that again? Should we just rewind the tape? Let's do it. There we go. Just a little social media. The bench. I'll have to go and sort that out. I need to get a picture of me that's less grumpy. Okay, there we go. Morning Brew. That's better. Bit of music, I think. That should have worked that time. I don't know. Hello, welcome to Morning Brew with me, Graham Hughes, here on Labour Social. It is Monday. It's Bank Holiday Monday. It's Easter Monday, the 10th of April 2023. A big shout out to all of my all my peeps in the house. I'm wearing my normal hat now because I'm a little bit warmer than normal. Apparently, though, there's a storm coming in. It's going to rain all day. So I do have my beanie just waiting to go back on my head if necessary. So big shout out to Asperger's Europe, who is there saying good morning. Plum Duff saying morning. All chucking it down. Summer's here. Blah. Hello everyone is from number 3. Lefty Boater is saying morning, folks. Ben is saying morning everyone. Ben Riddings and Mad Monk is here. Hey Mad Monk, how you doing? Up in Scotland, I believe. Graham Haller is there. It's Bank Holiday Monday, so of course it's raining. Of course. Alison Sutherland over on Facebook is asking if I've seen the video of the Dalai Lama asking a child to suck his tongue. No, I hadn't, but I saw your message before I came on, and I just googled it, and I kind of wish I hadn't now. Yeah. Don't put anyone on a pedestal because they will always let you down. Bonjour, mon ami, says Patrick McCarthy. Number 3 says, I think his coffee has gone cold. No, I've got tea, actually. I've got tea. But if I don't put it into like a thermos, it goes cold by the end of the show. But using a thermos is a bit Dwayne Dibley, if you know what I mean. So, you know, I'll try and stick with this. Do you not get the day off, says Cathal. No. I mean, if I had a job, I'd have the day off, but here I am. Femi did a short video about V today, highlighting the similarities with today. Interesting. I mean, do you mean the TV show V, where aliens come and steal all our water? Unless your name is Keanu Reeves. Yes. Boom. Caught you live again. Well done, Nina, for catching me live. So I'm going to just, what I'm going to do, I mean, this is very unprofessional, but, you know, I don't get paid enough to be professional. I'm just going to have a look at what is being covered on the headlines of the main news sites. And you know what? If it's anything interesting, I'll let you know. So, first of all, President Biden is coming over to celebrate the anniversary, the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, something that the Conservatives, along with pumping loads of sewage into our seas, destroying our international reputation, destroying our economy, destroying our hope for the future, destroying our ecology, destroying just basically everything, destroying our infrastructure, destroying our public transport system, destroying basically everything. So along with that, they tried to destroy the Good Friday Agreement, but it looks like there might be a little bit too much international pressure for them to really mess it up as much as they would have liked to, because, America's not too happy. America's not too happy about the fact that, they're taking the Good Friday Agreement and they're just sort of taking the mick out of it and saying, no, it's okay. What we'll do is we'll put, that's a bad expression to use. Can I rephrase that? They're taking the piss. That's what they're doing, out of the Good Friday Agreement, and saying that what they really want is not to zig a zag like the Spice Girls, but to actually have a hard border on the island of Ireland and blame it on the EU, because that will mean a return to the violence of yesteryear, and also, get to stick one to the EU. The EU's being unfair. They're bullying us, which is something that we heard a lot during the EU Brexit negotiations. They're bullying us. Sorry, I thought we held all the cards. They're bullying us. How? If you have a full house, right, you've got 4 aces. How is anyone bullying you? Yeah, I don't understand. You've told me you hold all the cards, right? How are they beating you at this game of poker? How is it? Anyway, I get a tartan thermos followed by a wax jacket and a National Trust membership. Living the dream. I've actually got a tartan hip flask, but not a thermos. Hi, number 3, says David. Hi, David. Is the world becoming more like V? I don't know. I'll have to watch it. I mean, I'll have to watch the video that Femi's done. But something I'd just like to say, they relaunched V like 20 years, 30 years on from the original series in the 1980s. They relaunched it, and it would have been so much better if it was a continuation of the original series, but they decided to reboot it, which I think failed miserably. Maybe they got 2 series out of it, or 2 seasons, sorry. Maybe 1, I don't know. Anyway, something that we should talk about a little bit this morning. I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, Labour. This is Labour Social. Obviously, this is an independent grassroots organisation set up by me and my friends to basically help Labour win the next election and then put ourselves into a position where we can hopefully influence Labour in some way once they're in power. But we don't run Labour comms. We've got nothing to do with Labour's social media output. Over the weekend, they put out an attack ad on Rishi Sunak, which said that he was quite happy for sex offenders who had done terrible things to not go to jail, and then had a little sign off from Rishi Sunak. And this morning, Keir Starmer said, "Yeah, I stand by that." And you know what? Part of me is like, yeah, fair enough, you know. But then you've got actual Labour lords like David Blunkett and Labour MPs saying, it's a bit much, it's a bit much. And they're worried that it might be a bit of a turn-off to people. What I think Labour are doing is, this is just what I think, this is my opinion, it's not based in fact whatsoever, other opinions are available. I think they're just testing the water because these local elections are really quite in the bag for Labour because everyone's annoyed with the Tories, so they're just seeing what will work, what makes a little bit of a flutter in the polls, and if they can get away with doing Tory-style attack ads, then if they're popular and it means they win more seats and win more votes, then yeah, okay, fine. I don't think they will, but let's see. Let the jury be out on this one. It's only for the local elections. They're trying something new. The touchy-feely, catchy monkey, all of that sort of stuff, softly stuff isn't really coming through, I don't think. But then, does Labour really have to do that much at the moment when they're 20 points ahead in the polls? In most polls, 40 points ahead in the polls in London. And as Ben is saying, not a turn off for me. Fight fire with fire if you can. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Labour get a bit more sort of ballsy about slagging off the Conservatives. I don't know if that was the right way to... I don't know if that was the right ad to go for first. I would have gone for the sewage in the rivers. I would have definitely gone for the sewers in the rivers, because there's no way they can say, oh, you're just politicising a terrible issue there, like you can with abuse. You're basically saying they're putting SHIT in our rivers, in our streams, in our watercourses, in our reservoirs, in our lakes, all along the coasts of Britain, are now full of human feces. And do you know what? Do you know the water companies don't even have to report how much feces they put in our river? Did you know that? How much slurry, how much sewage they put in our river? They don't have to say. They don't have to announce it. They just say, oh yeah, we did a discharge. Well, how much was it? How many litres? How many gigalitres? Oh, we don't have to say. Interesting. Hi all, Labour being pro-conversion therapy. Who's running their strategy? I have no idea who's running their strategy. One of the reasons why this channel exists is because I've got no idea who's running their strategy. So we thought we'll try and do a better job ourselves. But I've not read this, Nico, about them being pro-conversion therapy. But if that's coming out, I'm assuming that's something to do with the assault on trans people. And if you want to watch a long form video discussing what's happening with the Tories and Labour and the Equalities and Human Rights Commission over the trans rights, essentially, to just be everyday normal citizens and just live their life the way they want to, because they're not hurting anyone. If you want to watch a long form video, if you go onto my channel, the Labour Social channel, there's an interview I did there live last week with Katie Montgomery, who's a trans rights activist. 30p Lee, the 6 Bob Knob, I love that, Barry Allen, openly admitted that they'll fight the next GE on culture wars. We all know that's all they got left. I fully support the stance by Labour. Attack is the best form of defence. There you go. Because we're seeing some love for the Labour, the Labour policy here of just calling out the Tories. There's so much to call them out on. There's so much. Liz just took away the monitoring of water quality, I believe. Wow. That's something, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, indeed. So also in the news, the coronation carriage will be a more comfortable ride. Yeah, that's on the front page of the BBC website. BBC has objected to the government-funded Twitter label that Elon Musk has put onto the BBC because it's a woke, lefty, evil organisation. Now, to be fair, the thing that they should have written is that it is a government-influenced institution, because although it's not funded by the government, it's funded by the by license fee payers. God, my. Can we just cut and start again this morning? All over the shop. Although it's funded by you and I, by people who pay their license fee, it's not funded by the government, so technically that's incorrect. But it is correct to say that the government does have an undue amount of influence on the BBC, and they've been busy in the last few years, the last 13 years, putting their own people in charge of important posts in the BBC, so they get the nice soft interviews that they want off people like Laura Kunsberg. Also, bear in mind, these are people that they went to school with. A lot of the people with high-level access to Parliament, those top journalists in the House of Commons who have a Commons pass, they're generally overwhelmingly white and majority public schooled, like privately educated, which is great. So they'll be asking questions coming up from the streets, right? Now, listen, just to go back to the attack advert for a moment. This is a part of a campaign, so there's going to be more attack adverts coming out over the next couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see which direction they go in. But one of the things they're trying to get across is the fact that the Tories they're out of touch. They are out of touch, and that's the best attack line on them, because they are. You can't deny that they are out of touch. They went to these elite schools. They walked into a six-figure job from university. They went to one of the top universities because, you know, Daddy paid for tutors. Daddy paid for them to go to a school that didn't have to follow the national curriculum or get inspected by Ofsted. Don't you love those private schools that don't get inspected by Ofsted? God, you'd imagine that abuse runs rife in those in those schools. Hey, could you imagine if you put someone from those schools that don't need to be inspected by Ofsted in charge of Ofsted? That'll be a hoot, wouldn't it? They wouldn't be out of touch because they went to a private school, not a state school like 93% of us. Oh yeah, that actually happened. Cathal says, I don't think it was Labour social viewers those ads were targeted at. They'll do well to ensure the attacks are accurate and defensible. Yeah, I know, and also it was interesting reading the article about it on the BBC website this morning. It had a little fact check box and it went, yeah, it's true. Yeah, what they said is accurate. What are you going to do? Whereas whenever it's something that the Tories come out with, and don't forget, underpinning all this, when we talk about Labour attack ads over the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure this will come into this topic again, is the fact that in Parliament, Boris Johnson accused Keir Starmer of letting Jimmy Savile, one of the most notorious and worst and most horrific paedophiles ever in this country, in history that we know of, he let him off the hook. That's what Boris Johnson said at the dispatch box. An absolute lie from top to bottom, left to right. So, you know, that's the level that the Tories want to go down to. I'm not really averse to fighting in the gutter. The only thing I'll say is I might not have led with the one about abuse, because I might have been a bit more sort of, well, let's lead with something else and we'll move into that later when it's a bit more palpable. Graham, do you think that as a consequence of the Brexit disaster, there could be a massive leaving of British wanting to start a new life in Europe, or a social revolution will come first? Well, we can't leave. The vast majority of British people can no longer afford to live in another country, apart from maybe Ireland, where we don't have to ask permission. You've got to prove that you have like $5,000 in your bank account in savings. You've got to prove that you got money coming in. You've got to spend thousands and thousands of euros now to just get residency in a country, never mind citizenship, in a European nation. We used to be able to just rock up. So, I don't see there being a mass exodus. Well, there's already been a mass exodus of the talented people, of people who actually know what they're doing. So we're left with people who are not well trained in any particular given high-level profession. Not to say that they're not smart enough to be able to do it, but they've never been given the opportunity to do it because those jobs have generally been hogged by a bunch of idiots who went to private school. Yeah, who are still here. Most of them are still here, but I'm sure once the next general election comes around and the Tory party is decimated, I'm sure they'll take their ill-gotten gains, stuff 2 suitcases full of used £5 notes, and flee the country as tax wanted by the taxman. A bit like what happened with Ennis Marples, who was the Tory transport minister in the 60s, who got rid of all the train lines. And that's why the train fare from Durham to London is £300 return. Bez Roth says people are more concerned about the attack than the 4,500 offenders serving time. It won't take long to find previous Tory ads. There'll be more from all parties as we draw near the election. Yeah, I agree. Let's not forget the Mail's 2-week Currygate attack ad. Yep, every day for 2 weeks, the Mail ran a story on the front cover that Keir Starmer had a beer while having food in a constituency meeting. Well, not a constituency meeting. It was a meeting of a campaign meeting, leading up to the Sunderland election. It was a campaign meeting here in Durham, actually, in a private venue that was photographed by someone who was related to one of the Tory MPs or something, or a Tory lord. Someone looked that up. It was the son. It was the son of somebody, maybe someone who worked for the Sun. What do you mean out of touch Tories? Are you saying that the Victorian relic that is Jacob Rees-Mogg doesn't fully understand the everyday travails of the British working class? Tut, says Perry Pilot. I'm saying exactly that. Yeah, you're right. It's just mad, isn't it? Like, these people have now... When you got a Prime Minister who's worth, £800 million, who's had to have the North Yorkshire electricity grid redistributed to heat his private swimming pool while the rest of us can't even heat our freaking homes. Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't possibly be out of touch. And you've got the same person scoffing at the idea of having working class friends. Well, I don't have any working class friends. I've got friends from all over the social spectrum. I've got upper class friends. I've got upper middle class friends, and I've got working class. Anyway, I don't have any working class friends. As he blows his nose on a £50 note. Same thing happened in pre-war Germany. Had to pay a percentage of your net worth to get out. Indeed, they're making it very difficult for people to get out, but making it increasingly easy for people from other places other than Europe to come in, which is ironic, really, because that's what they said they were going to stop with us having Brexit. But they didn't mean that. What they really meant when they did the Brexit, when they did the good old Brexit, the Brexit thing that, is going to scar our lives probably for the rest of time. They said, we're going to stop immigration. They didn't want to stop immigration anymore. They wanted to stop people to stop immigrants coming over here in small boats, to stop asylum seekers. They didn't want to do that. They want these people here. They want them in hotels that are really expensive, and they want the adverts for the Tory party in the Mail and the Express and the rest of the client press, like the Telegraph and the Scum newspaper. They want it on the front page. These refugees are costing X amount. There's no one white left in Blackburn anymore. Blah, blah, blah. They want these horrible headlines that they put up. They want them so people vote Conservative, because that is the most effective way of getting stupid people in this country, generally a little bit older generations, not all older people, hashtag not all older people, but generally older people who might have left school early and didn't go to university and did the same job all their life and is now retired and have a lot of time on their hands. You know the type. You are way more likely to get their votes if you flood the country full of people from other places and then say you're going to get rid of them, while secretly flooding the country with more people from other places, which I don't have a problem with. But what I do have a problem with is that we open the doors to people coming from all over the world, which is great, wonderful, let's do that, woo. But we shut the doors for people like me who were born here from leaving. Like Hotel California. Thanks for that. 230 from Durham to London return on a plane. That's from Sean. Wow. Cheaper to fly. Cheaper to destroy the environment, which is why they want you to fly or drive, because it destroys the environment better. I saw a really interesting ad the other day, and it was for oil. It was just like an ad for oil, and it was like, imagine what would happen if there was no oil. And it was things that you use every day, like hair products, and they have like an American football. It was an American advert, American football, and they disappeared. You know, like Thanos clicking his fingers. They like disappeared. All these things that you use every day. You know, someone's laptop. They're writing on the laptop, and the laptop disappears, and the mic disappears, and their mouse, the mouse disappears, and all that kind of, because they're all derived from plastic, and plastic's derived from oil, and without oil, and it was just like the maddest ad ever. It just looked like they were so panicking about the fact that we are transitioning away from burning oil. That doesn't mean we're going to stop drilling oil, okay? We've got to make this very clear. We're still going to need plastics. We're still going to need roads, and tarmac is made mostly from oil. A lot of the derivatives, our clothes, nylon is made from oil, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a textiles expert by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of our medical equipment contains oil in some form because it's plastic. But if we make plastic out of the oil and then we recycle that plastic, it's not necessarily creating CO2 going into the atmosphere, and it's not necessarily polluting the oceans. At the moment, we have single-use plastics that go into the ocean and absolutely destroying it, and we have oil that we still burn to produce power, which is crazy when it's now cheaper to produce power through wind and solar than it is to produce power through oil and gas and coal. Oil must flow, says Droop. Yeah, indeed. Best stop burning it then. Well, exactly. That's what I thought, that, Sean. That's exactly what I thought when I was watching this advert. I was like, yeah, well, it's a finite resource. Let's stop burning it if it's so important to American football and writing on your laptop. Our CPTTPPPPP application is about wrecking the environment. Ridiculous. Yes, it is. One of the big things in that agreement with the country of Brunei, we've got an amazing trade deal now with a country in which you're not allowed to drink. So we'll be selling them a lot of Scotch whiskey. Scotch whiskey making up a huge amount of our, I mean, in terms of, maybe not in terms of volume, but in terms of money worth, Scotch whiskey is like, what is it? Was it 20% of all of our food and drink exports from Britain? Can someone look that up? Can someone in the chat just quickly look up how much of a percentage of our food and drink exports is Scotch whiskey? Because we're not going to be selling any of that to Brunei. Because you're not allowed any alcohol in Brunei. Something I didn't know when I went to Brunei in 2002, and I had a hip flask full of whiskey when I went there. But the law hadn't come in then. You could actually bring in a small amount of alcohol for personal consumption. Phew! Otherwise, I still might be in jail in Brunei. Good old Brunei. Yeah, no one knows where it is, but it is. It's there. It's there. And it shares the island of Borneo with Indonesia and Malaysia. Malaysia is another one of the countries in the CPTPP. Chat GDP TPPT, and they're currently cutting down the rainforests of Borneo. There's basically the island of Borneo is split. I'm gonna island explain here. Geography splaining with Graham Hughes. The island of Borneo, which isn't in South America, it's in Southeast Asia, straddles the border. Straddles the equator, ladies and gentlemen. So most of it's in the southern hemisphere. A little bit is in the northern hemisphere. The top bit is comprised of 3 areas, 2 of which, Sabah and Sarawak, are part of Malaysia, along with Peninsular Malaysia, which is actually part of the continent of Asia, over the water. And then you've got, in the middle of those 2, you've got the Kingdom of Brunei. And then below that, you've got Kalimantan, which is a province of Indonesia. Now, Indonesian logging of the rainforests of the orangutan's home has been known about for a long time. And so David Attenborough has been doing a lot to draw attention to the fact that this logging has been going on to plant palm. So palms that they can make palm oil out of. Palm oil that appears in so many products. Check out the ingredients of a lot of your products in the home, especially any kind of like dairy products, like Nutella, I think has palm oil in it. Don't quote me, it did. If it stopped having it, great. But and what they've been doing in Malaysia is they've been saying, no, we're not cutting down the jungle. That's over the border. That's all in Indonesia. And the Indonesians are saying, well, yeah, we are cutting cutting down our rainforest, but we need the money. And Malaysia, by the way, is also cutting down its rainforest to make palm oil, even though it doesn't need the money, because Malaysia's quite a wealthy country, especially compared with Indonesia, which per capita isn't very rich. Anyway, there you go. If your parent or grandparent was Irish, you can get an Irish passport. Unfortunately, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather and great-great-great-great-grandmother came across from Ireland a bit too early. I think it was about the turn of the 20th century they came across. They eloped. He was Protestant and she was Catholic. Actually, he was part of the bloody Orange Order. And she was a Catholic. So they ran away to Liverpool. And that's how I got here. Scotch is approximately 1.4% of UK exports, if I've done that correctly. No. Food and drink. Just specifically food and drink exports. Not including everything else, but yeah. If that's what you meant. I thought it was more than that. Honestly, I thought Scotch was like massive. I thought it was like, a big chunk of our food and drink exports around the world. Pretty sure it's 5 years to get your residency, to get your passport, but I'll start the process immediately. Kevin is there. Morning, Graham and everyone. I'm back. Been mad busy with work and commuting is exhausting. Live the new look. Love the new look, I think you're trying to say. Thank you. Indeed. I'm going to, there's one here. Many Brits who have properties didn't decide if to go back to the UK or say in Spain. The embassy of the UK in Magala, what am I saying for? Was a nightmare on December 2021. Malaga. God, Graham, speak properly with your words. I'm sorry, it's really early. Cafal, look out for European visa tourist information. It allows you to stay in Spain for a couple of days. If you enter and quickly go to a police station for your European passport, they give it to you for €65 and a passport picture. What? European visa? Oh my God. It looks like it's more like 40% of food and drink. Thank you, Cathal. Oh my God. I thought I was just completely talking absolute nonsense, which wouldn't be the first time, but like completely talking nonsense. I was like, I'm sure the Scotch whiskey is like a huge proportion of our food and drink exports. And you're like, no, it's only 1%. I'm like, oh shit. But then again, 1% of our entire export is still quite a lot of our exports, if you think about it. Your nan or granddad are still about and their grandparents were born in Ireland, they can apply, and once they have it, you can apply via them. Fruit back at yes. I've actually my grandparents died years ago, unfortunately, but I might ask my mum if we can find out a way of sussing out whether her granddad and her grandmother on her dad's side actually came from we can prove they were born in Ireland. That'd be something worth doing for future reference, and then I can get an Irish passport and fly free around the world forevermore. Yes. You're doing a quick calculation. Right, anyway, where am I? I'm back. Right, okay, we've got to go soon. So I'm going to quickly just have a quick look on what else is coming up. They've got a story on the Guardian website, which has been there for a day now. They should really refresh that. But yeah, Britain not close to being a racially just society, a 2-year research project found. William Barr, who was, I think, the Attorney General under Trump, wasn't he? Trump dug himself in a hole on classified documents in January the 6th. The ex-Attorney General, he was, phew, says former president has a penchant for engaging in reckless behaviour. This is why he now faces indictments. Donald Trump, ex-president, bets indictments could make him 2024 nominee. Stormy Daniels, Trump lawyer, says he aims to get case dismissed before trial. I wouldn't bet on that because Trump has been slagging off the judge of the trial, which isn't a good idea. Not a good look. Indictment and the return of his biggest concern, there's Donald Trump, the women. The Twitter row, which I've alluded to before. There's some information coming in about the Russia-Ukraine war. Pentagon assesses impact assessment of apparent intelligence leak, and Zelensky condemns Palm Sunday shelling. Anyway, and then yes, Fox News. Murdoch Network settles lawsuit with Venezuelan over election vote rigging claims. That's been sorted out, of course. As you know, Dominion voting machines are taking Fox News to court for over $1 billion, suing them for over $1 billion for defamation, for saying that their machines were not working properly when they were. So, if you look out for more shows coming your way on Labour Social, I filmed a show over the weekend with Supertansky and Hannah Janes, one of the TikTokers who you well worth a follow, and that will be going live over the next couple of days, I hope. And also I've got some in the bag that I haven't actually put online yet, so they'll be going out as well. If you would like to support this channel, and please support this channel, I'm just getting off the ground, and if it doesn't work out, well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But if you go over to patreon.com/Labour Social, you can sign up on different levels of patronness, and the lowest one is just £3 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee in most places in the UK. Maybe not filter coffee, but the latte stuff that people like. It's less than a cup of coffee. Just £3 a month could get this network social channel thing really going on all cylinders. So if you would please head over there. If you are already a patron, don't worry about it. You're already going to be given access to the Labour Social Discord server and everything else that's going to come from that. And you'll also get invites to the Labour Party, the Labour Social, not the Labour Party. We're nothing to do with them. We're independent. The Labour Social Socials, which will be taking place once a month once they get off the ground in a different city each month around the UK, and anyone on a particular tier of the Patreon for Labour Social, or my personal patrons will be invited along to them to come and meet us. And we'll also try and get some influencers along, people that you like to watch on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and stuff. We'll try and get them along to give a bit of a talk about the future of politics in this country, and hopefully give you and me and everyone else a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I will return tomorrow morning at 9:30. I'll try not to be a little bit late like I was this morning, but it is a Monday morning after a bank holiday, and we have friends staying, and this is the spare bedroom, so professional. I had to set all the camera and lights and computers and cables and internet and everything back up, and now I'm gonna have to dismantle it all again. I'm packing away because I'm going, but I'll be back tomorrow at 9:30. I hope to see you then, and in the meantime, here is a list of all my wonderful patrons so far. I will add to this list this week as I've got more as we get more patrons who are supporting this channel that way. Okay, so until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my patrons. Thanks to all my YouTube members, and I'll see you soon. Oh, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. That's what I normally say, isn't it?